Eminatati Kinigibaz, this is La Sentai Chessman of Pacific Ground by Calvin Insurance, Calvin Select Care, and Payless Supermarket. Yes, this is August 1st, 2014, and of course we are on the election cycle here, and being at the first day of August 2014, we are starting decision 2014 leading up to the primary election on the 30th of August. And of course, we had invited all the candidates, and all the candidates have been slated. Their time slots have been given to them already. This morning, we have in studio, we have incumbent Senator Aline Yamashita, Republican,
Good morning.
number 15. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning.
And we have also Republican candidate number 16, Glenn Guerrero. They're in here this morning. Good morning, Glenn. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good.
Who was slated to come here this morning, but is not here. It was Senator B.J. Cruz, number 1 on the ballot. And just you know how this grouping was done is that this was arranged through our news team, and so in the Republican side, we start from the bottom up, and then from the Democratic side, we're starting with the top down. So at some point, we're going to meet right in the middle. We also have the gubernatorial candidates slated to come in here, the buzz, as well as the delegates position and the attorney general as well. So that being said, this will also be seen on local channel 2 this evening, as well as prime time, and this will be available on KUAM YouTube channel. Good morning, Glenn, and good morning, Senator. How are you doing this morning?
Doing really well.
Great,
How are you?
real good, real good. Tell us first, for the folks that don't already know you, I don't know why they won't know you yet at this point, Senator, but tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Aline Yamashita, born and raised on Guam. I just said goodbye to my oldest son who's returning to school to pursue a graduate degree. I walk in the shoes of many families who really only want the best for their children. And with Ryan, I think we're succeeding in there. I have another son, Eric, who has autism and OCD, so I walk in those shoes. I'm a teacher. That's what I am. I'm a teacher and a mom. And about 4 years ago, I decided that perhaps policy needed some more representation about what families really need and what they face. And so I sought office, and I was humbled by being elected. This is my second term, and I'm here again, deciding that there's still more work to be done.
Mm-hmm. And this will be, again, you're seeking your 3rd term, right?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, Glenn. How you doing? Tell us about yourself. I know all about you, but the folks that don't know
Well,
don't
kind of
know you
related here.
that don't
We
know
all
you.
share names.
That's right. That don't know you. They need to know you as well. So I mean, your name is very familiar to folks out there. You have been. You're not new to government. I mean, you're not new to elections as well. At one point, you were the election guy.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
tell the people of Guam about Glenn Youngero.
Well, kind of like Senator Yamashita, I'm here I'm running for office because I believe that the policies do need to be shaped in a better fashion. And my focus is more on economic development, basically for jobs. About myself, I'm a father of, I fathered 7 children, and I have now 8 grandchildren.
Holy Toledo. That's incredible.
It is. It's
That's
fun. It's fun.
incredible.
It's very nice. Very
You're a
nice.
busy man.
Very busy. Very busy. and I still want to do more. I ran the election commission in 84,
Mm-hmm.
and I also ran the Guam Economic Development Authority
Mhm.
in 85, and I ran the Port Authority of Guam in 2008. So I've done public service work. I've done private service work, and I think that we're kind of entering to an area where if we make the right investments and make the right choices, we actually can forge our future and grow it to a place where we all want to build an economy.
Sure.
So we want to build communities. Is basically.
Mm-hmm.
Senator Yamashita is talking about families and along those routes. My route is on the business side, jobs and careers.
And of course, yeah, I mean, I know your guys' entity. I know you're a teacher, and I know your passion, with teaching and things like that. But of course, when one gets in the legislature, whatever your passion may be, we know that to the introduction of bills, but we also know that you have to be well versed in all the issues, because you're going to have to argue for or against, amend things that come on the floor regarding things that you know very little about, or a lot more than others as well. So how have you balanced that out, Senator Yamashita? Again, in your passion for education, you're a PhD, but you're not a PhD in everything.
No, absolutely
Yeah.
not.
So how do you balance that going into it, and you stand up on the floor at times, you say, well, I know little about this. So how do you educate yourself in things that come up to the floor that are very foreign to you?
And so, of course, we keep a pulse on what's being introduced and what's being spoken about in the community. And so there are many circles that we welcome to our table, and fortunately they welcome us to their table. So I learn a lot by, of course, reading, but also by listening to the actual people who are boots on the ground. And so whatever their realm may be. I've learned a lot about military, I've learned a lot about economic development, I've learned a lot about health, I've learned a lot about farmers and agriculture and fishing, and so, and for me, Senator, that's what's exciting, is all of this learning, and it all boils down to ensuring that our families are healthy and productive, so that they can participate in all those different realms. So I keep myself up to speed by reading, by listening, and by paying attention to what's being spoken about in all the different stakeholder groups.
Glenn, you have led agencies, of course, such as the Election Commission, Economic Development, the port as well, and this is your entity. Let me ask you this, and I would ask both of you, but let me ask you this, Glenn. One of the big things, I mean, I remember when I was a senator, I was kind of like a lone ranger in trying to lead things to try to get the exemption from cabotage laws and all that. But cabotage and Jones Act, as you know, and what's surfacing a lot now is Jones Act. Cabotage is kind of being in the side. Nobody wants to go with the airlines at this point. Jones Act is an entity that really, because it's in place, really cripples our economic development here in Guam. You know that all too well. I mean, not only were you at the port, but you were also with the gas company at
Sure.
Years back. How would you go about to, again, first of all, are you in favor of the Jones Act waiver for Guam?
We already have a waiver
Okay.
for Guam. That's for there's three laws, if you will. One is the manufacturer of the boat. The one is the ownership of the boat, and the other is the flagging of the boat.
Sure.
So we already have the waiver for the manufacturing of the boat. So somebody in the United States, as for an example, can purchase a boat
Sure.
elsewhere and then just charter flag it and own it.
Okay.
And still operate from, as the Jones Act basically is saying that if you go from one U.S. port to another U.S. port, you have to use a U.S. carrier
right.
with U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Companies.
Mm-hmm.
And U.S. companies, they typically have higher wages and therefore cost a lot more. So am I in favor of the Jones Act? No. I think it's kind of old, and I think their time has come and gone.
Sure.
But this bill, if you will, or this movement to
A full exemption, basically.
yeah, full exemption is always going to be an uphill climb, because
Sure.
you've got very strong
Now
people.
that being said, it definitely will reach the congressional arm. It, unfortunately, is not a local issue. It started from a local issue,
Sure.
but it has a congressional arm, and you're gonna have to do a lot of lobbying. Likewise, you're gonna have to rely on our delegate who will happen to be over there. How would you go about, again, in pressuring or moving and making that argument to whoever the delegate may be, that this is something, as again, someone who's really pushing for economic stability and more economic self-sufficiency for our island, and this is a big situation where if we got the full exemption, we can move towards more self-sufficiency and economic prosperity.
Yeah, I think that right now we're poised, because let me diverge into go on this rabbit trail. Right now, U.S. EPA is looking to to clean the air, if so to speak, for the entire nation. And a lot of power is being generated through fossil, through coal, through a lot of things. And so they want to clean up their act. And Hawaii is interested in going to LNG. So we've got a big state, or at least a state that's interested in saying, we're now hurting because we cannot get LNG from the United States at a reasonable cost without taxing the arm and legs of the people of Hawaii. And so they're making a major push, and they're asking us to join in with them. American Samoa and Virgin Islands, as well as Guam and stuff. So we have a window of opportunity for me that we can since we've got concerted interest, we can actually focus in on that and say this is something that we feel is good for us and can help our communities as well as, and not hurt the communities in the United States. So I think this is an opportunity for us to pursue.
So Senator Yamashita, same thing. Over the years, past 4 years now, you're completing your second term. You have dealt with not only local issues but issues that pertain that needs to get the federal arm again to release or relinquish some of its chokehold basically on maybe our economic prosperity, because again men and women decide from thousands of miles away what is right for our island, which is not right at all. How would you go about, again, first of all, do you agree with the full exemption of the Jones Act for Guam?
Yes, and tagging on what Glenn is saying, that is really critical for the economic development of our island. We're kind of stuck, and we need to unstuck ourselves, but it really has ripple effects on our families and what we're able to do. For example, Senator, Ryan and his dad just left, and we were looking at the airline requirements, and so they got on the plane, and there's no more food, there's no more everything, but yet, the ticket price is even higher. That's absurd, and that's ridiculous. Yet, if you bought that ticket from the Philippines, I'm told, it would be lower. So, we're forced to be in a situation that is unacceptable and absolutely wrong. How can we further assert? I think we need to do two things that we've been studying a lot, and that is activating all our Chamorros across the states, all the 50 states. They're living there. We have hundreds of thousands of Chamorros there. Speak up. Speak up. You guys vote for our president, and you vote for Congress, and you have voting delegates. Speak up and say that your home, that your island community needs to have the same kind of say, and assert. I'm real familiar with that with our veteran issues, and we've been working with them nationally. Speak up. With highest per capita, and yet we don't have everything that we need for our veterans here. And secondly, then, is really to address our political status. We've tried to do this, and it didn't work out, but we really need to get that Constitution in place, and we need to say that we need voting delegates. And we, as U.S. citizens, need to be able to vote for our president. And so, and we all know, we all lived off island for a bit, and when we were off island, we all voted for the president when we were there. So, the geographical location can no longer be the determinant of what my right is and my responsibility as a U.S. citizen. So it's really collaborating, connecting, and just pushing forward. But as Glenn said, those kinds of statutes are outdated. They're archaic. And today in the new millennium, we need to proceed to get those types of policy structures in place.
Yeah, and this is something. And I'm gonna ask both of you. Should the people of Guam again decide to put you back in, and should the people of Guam decide to elect Glenn to be a part of the third Guam legislature? And one of the reasons why, again, that the airlines, at least the Guam-Honolulu flight route, that they're not serving food anymore, you got to buy food in the plane, is because it's a domestic flight. It's a domestic flight. They don't serve food to domestic flights anymore, only international flights. So you take that same airline that goes to the Philippines, it's 3 hours away, it's considered international, so they'll feed you, okay? But you're going from Guam to Honolulu, it's domestic, it's an 8-hour flight, so, you don't have a sandwich, as they say, you're going to starvation, like that, right? Because it's a domestic flight. But what gets me with this we're so domestic that when we land in Hawaii,
Yeah.
we have to go through
Immigration
immigration
again,
because we're
yeah.
so domestic. Okay,
Yeah.
we're so domesticated that we have to show our
And
passport.
customs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so those are the things again. Please, please, please.
Yeah.
Actually, you're still there. You can still do it now. Glad when you get in there. Why is it that everybody else that picks and chooses when we're domestic, when we're international?
Yeah.
If we're totally domestic, then domesticate us completely. We don't have to show our passport because again, when you're flying from LA to Hawaii in a domestic flight, you don't have to go through the scrutiny of immigration, but we do
Yeah.
as a Guam domestic. So
Yeah.
again, it's always to for the betterment of everybody else except for us. So that's why that is at this point. And again, you're preaching to the choir when you're talking about a cabotage exemption. But anyway, thank you again for that. Let me ask you this question. The this big thing, okay, with this military buildup. We've gone from, I remember 2006 when we first, I was still in there, and we were involved in that. It has been down. The numbers have been numbered down quite a bit. We looked at the time the Pagat to be the firing range. Now Ritidian is the choice at this point. Are the both of you in favor of Ritidian as a designation for the military fire range?
You know, understanding that a lot of studies are being done, have been done. I have gone on record saying that I do support, but however, now the Fishers have really stood up and have forwarded several documents, and in studying that, I'm thinking that we need to re-look at their concerns. And I'm very concerned about the areas of which they will be able to fish, the amount of miles that they're going to have to go out, and all of that. So Fishermen's Co-op, Manny Duenas forwarded some stuff, and I told him I appreciate that because it's a different perspective from what I've been hearing. So I would like to, what I told him was that as we continue to be at the table, I would like to further hear how we can address the concerns of our fishermen.
Of course, we're talking about a buffer zone, right?
Right, the buffer zone, yeah.
Wherever that's going to be, you're going to have that. That doesn't move. I mean, if you move it to this place, that's how big a buffer zone is you're going to need for, again, if you have any stray bullets or bombs, I guess, whatever it may be. Glenn, your thoughts on Ritidian and I know that's something that's close to your heart, brother. You got some family members are listening to you right now that they're going to
Our family members.
Our family members. That's right.
And it's not just the family members. I'm a fisherman as well, and
sure.
I really enjoy all of that. One thing I want to say is that what we've seen in progression from 2006 even until now is that the military is actually, or the people that are negotiating on behalf of the DoD side, or talking on behalf of the DoD, they're talking with us. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
So as Senator Yamashita said, and as Governor Cabo, I too am for the buildup. And what I really appreciate is that DoD, they're also listening. They're saying, "Hey, we want to be a part of the community. We're not just going to tell you what we want to do." But they have to come up with requirements. They have to meet some certain requirements. When I was at the port, we got the port to become a strategic port, and we didn't meet all the requirements. So there is room for negotiation. There are things that we can work with. Maybe it's going to cost a little bit more for them to put up more controls in terms of addressing stray bullets and stuff like that. But there's got to be some solution.
Sure. As a matter of fact, I'm sure the both of you read an article by Keem Paris that it put out, I think this was a couple of months back, in regards to the firing range, and he made a lot of sense in what he said. He says there's no reason why not to have a firing range in maybe Tinian, as because this is something that the Marines were going to use the firing range, and it would make all the sense that you have invading forces, that they would practice again their fast deployment, and to get from point A to point B, you need the mechanism to get there, and then landing forces. These are again the boots on the ground guys. These are the first men and women that are on the ground. So it would make all the sense to be able to have that, because you have the built-in training, because you need that rapid deployment to get from here to there. I mean, I mean, it makes sense for us and maybe military-wise. I mean, I don't have a military mind.
Okay.
Glenn, you probably have that more than I do, but
I don't think so.
but does it not make sense?
Well, I actually raised that.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
when Ms. Manistill was at the table with
Sure.
us, we, raised that, and clearly, I wasn't able to make a compelling argument, but it was, they said that couldn't happen because they needed the access to the firing ranges close by. But everything that you just said, that Mr. Perez had said, really makes a
Mhm.
compelling argument
Mhm.
and debate. But we did raise that. We also raised the virtual training aspect.
Sure.
Right, and again, that was, knocked down, but I was just like, if we train helicopter people how to pilot in virtual training spaces, I wasn't sure why we couldn't do
Airplane
that.
pilots,
Right, so, for me, it's an opportunity, again, as Senator Leon Guerrero was saying, Guam could be the first on the map in doing all these different things, and so, and as you said, as we move forward, we can continue to put these things on the agenda and see what we can do better at.
Yeah. Glenn, your thoughts on that? I mean, am I way off in this?
No. I agree with you. I think that there are, like I said, there's other avenues. Whatever the problem is, there's several solutions, and if we can at least address them and come to agreement with it. So there's a win-win situation, not a compromise, but a win-win situation.
Again, where are we at? What are your understanding on where we're at in regards to the military build-up here? I know the comment period has come and gone. We're awaiting them to put it
Right.
all together to bring it back to us
That's right.
again. Where do we go from there?
Well, and so, and then, and see, for me, there's two things going on. It's all of that, but there's also the congressional requirements, right, for that whole plan. So I'm understanding that that's being addressed, but I think very slowly. And now the environmental impact
statement.
the statement is also being addressed. So I think we're proceeding.
Mm-hmm.
I know we're switching out a lot of our military leaders, so I guess as they come in place, and we continue for the discussion. But I do know that our island, majority of us embrace it.
Mhm.
And we want to say, how do we get to where we need to get respectfully and inclusively?
Again, we constantly say as an island, as a territory, that we are very loyal American citizens. We are loyal American citizens. At this point, I guess saying that is not enough at this point for us to be able to get things that we're asking for, or really what's due to us, like compact impact, or self-determination. Where are we at with self-determination? And I'm going to ask Glenn, what are your thoughts again in self-determination, and of the three options that we if we were to vote today, it's independence, statehood, and compact or free association, right? Like that. In those three options, now there may be other options that people want to pursue, and there are other options out there that people want to pursue. But of those three options, if the election again for self-determination was to be decided at this election, what would your choice be? What are you inclined to go with in your knowledge of those particular statuses?
Good question, Jess. I think that we're first and foremost, if we're going to go with self-determination, and this is something we've been discussing
Sure.
for decades, not years, decades.
Mm-hmm.
And now you've got a whole new group of people that need to be educated.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's first and foremost.
Sure.
That's key. We gotta have good arguments for and against for each. What are the three? The free association,
free association, and independence. Yeah.
and independence. Yeah, I'm as you said, and we've discussed earlier. I don't think independence is the route. I don't think we can sustain ourselves by it. But and statehood, I really. It'll be something that we can say we want if we do choose that as a majority. But I kind of find that very difficult to see Congress and everybody else
For states to allow us to have a small island, to have
180,000.
two very strong
But
senators.
if we unite with all the Marianas Islands,
At Unite as one.
And
Oh,
that's
that's
yeah,
a
we
different
unified,
argument.
right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Senator, what are your thoughts? What are you inclined to support? Should again, if it's not, But if the self-determination vote was in this election, what do you incline based on what you know and
Yeah, well, first, I would like to see all of us reunite with everybody across the Blue
Mhm.
Pacific, our Blue Continent is what we call it now, and then push for statehood. I think that collectively.
I mean Marianas, the
The
Marianas,
Marianas
okay,
Islands,
okay.
and I think that we have a lot to offer the nation, and we already do, contribute and we do
Mhm.
engage. So I know that some people would say how foolish and ridiculous that might be, but I don't think so at all. I think that first of all, our greatest resource are the people. We are. There's no place else
Mhm.
that have what we are, and then it's just the land and the water. We have a lot to offer. We should be producing the hugest bamboo groves and coconut groves, and papayas and pineapples and all of that. And then, of course, our fishing with our waters. I think that we should be able to do that. And so that's what I would like to see. But I also agree with what Senator Leon Guerrero is saying, and that is that there's a lot of education that needs to happen, because I think a lot of folks have become a lot of folks have become have are not paying attention to this issue, and I don't think they're understanding how critical that it is
Mhm,
and
mhm.
stuff.
So basically, in the unification, you're saying unification of or reunification of the Marianas. You're saying in reunification, then maybe we can push to be the 51st state. Is that what you're saying
Yeah.
at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
Guam,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Guam and the Marianas, or the Marianas.
Marianas, the
Yeah.
51st state.
Yeah, where
Mhm.
America's Day begins. Absolutely.
So we're going to have to change the tomorrow standard time.
No.
No. Okay.
It's still tomorrow.
Still tomorrow. Okay.
Still tomorrow.
Okay. Okay. Great. Recently, of course, taxes were due and taxes were paid. Tax refunds are being paid on time now. There are a lot of delinquent taxes out there, be it private citizens and businesses. Recently, Governor Calvo had come out and said, we will not foreclose, we will not take properties back from private homeowners or landowners, but we're going to go after the businesses that have delinquent taxes. Your thoughts on that? Are you in favor of that?
If you have delinquent taxes, we go after you.
Yeah, but on the business side, he had recently said we're not going to go after
Yeah.
the the
Well,
you and
first-
me's, right?
Right. Well,
Unless the you and me's are a big you and me.
Well, actually, the government did go after us, and
Okay.
they took the property away from my parents, who paid taxes for decades, and they made a court decision that they shall not have that land. So they did go after us. Do I think people should be paying their taxes, whether you're a family or a business? You should. But what I am concerned about is that the processes need to be in place. And I think Director John Camacho and Marie Benito at DRT are doing a really good job at ensuring that those processes are meaningful and relevant for 2014. And so they're working with the Attorney General right now to ensure that if the assessment of the land and then the
Mhm.
whole auctioning process and the deeding. So they're going through that process now. But your question was, should it just be businesses?
Sure,
Which
sure.
No, I think it's anybody who's you go through the process. You're given an amount of time to come in and make those payment plans.
Mhm.
But everybody should be held accountable. There's no free lunch in this world, and so but the government is very, very friendly to our families. We're extremely friendly to our families. But you need to be able to do it, and we already know you can come in with a payment plan. You're going to pay however much it is, and it's minimal. They're not going to take it, but you
Mhm.
have to come in and own up.
Glenn?
And to that point, Senator Yamashita, if the, as the processes are being reviewed, if it needs to be broadened, then I mean, let's do that. But I agree. We all this is our community.
Yep.
Mhm.
This is our island, and if we go state, this is our
Mhm.
chain. This is our neck of the woods. This is our region. And we gotta not just belly up to the bar and say this is my. We gotta do things with it,
Mhm.
Yep.
which means paying taxes, which means doing the things we need to do as a community.
And and we can. And if those who are not sure of what it is needed to be done are not clear on their responsibilities, then we must do a better job at helping them understand that. And that's at all layers, beginning with our mayor's offices and at revenue and tax and with us. So community events, media events. I think sometimes people are just not aware of what they're supposed to be doing. And then there are those who do and just figure, oh well, he's not going to take it. Right? And I'm saying, no, we go through a process. And if you're not fulfilling your responsibilities, there are consequences. There have to be.
Gov Guam, running of the hospital. I mean, just, what is it, earlier this week, the end of last week, hospitals broke, got no money. The news come out that Verga had gone to the Philippines saying, Luke, we're going to partner up, we're going to do this, all nice and dandy and things like that. Your thoughts on the hospital and Gov Guam and its continuance with this? I mean, this is not a bucket with holes. This is a bucket with no bottom. That's a bottom. That's a sa papagi bucket.
God help us. And GMH is our hospital.
It is.
It is our
Mhm.
hospital. So we really need to put our minds together on how we're going to ensure that our hospital for all of our people is healthy, and then we can get to happy. So we need to work together. And I believe that this administration, this legislature, as past legislatures have tried to help financially. I think we need to really look at why we have so many people in assistance. Why do we have so many people not paying? And so one of the things that we've been focusing in on is on the prevention of health diseases, starting at the beginning, so that you are healthy, so that you don't get the cancer and the diabetes and the heart, and so that you don't go to the hospital and stay there and then not pay your bills. And so I'm very a staunch advocate on that, and from beginning with early childhood prenatal development and all of that. That's one of the ways. But currently, yeah, the bottomless bucket really needs to be addressed. And so we continue. I mean, every time we turn around, Senator, you know this, we're appropriating millions of dollars. So if indeed it is that our population are just all of these people who are not paying, we're not going to turn them away. I would never stand for turning somebody away because they can't. They need help. But we do need to do better at saying how you can be healthy. And we need to do better at partnering with our health centers, the whole emergency aspect of it. We need to open up that urgent care center. We need to say that our northern and our southern regional health centers, you got to open up. And that's where the families need to go, so that our ER costs, are not astronomical, which is what they are, which is why our costs are so high.
What?
I agree. I think and I've thought this over a little bit. I think that I welcome the new hospital.
Absolutely.
I would encourage more hospitals if they can come. We need to redefine. We really do need to redefine our hospital. There are going to be gaps where these other hospitals and centers and clinics are not going to be able to are not going to focus on. And we obviously we can't be an answer all to end all.
Sure.
But again, it is our hospital, and we need to own that. How do we put a bottom, if you will, to that? I guess we one of the things that I appreciate is that, like you're saying, I said we need to redefine our hospital. We need to redefine what its core and objectives are, and then we need to be innovative. And the fact that Verga is going out to the Philippines, he's looking, and that's the good thing. I don't have an answer that's gonna save us, but at the end of the day, I think that if we keep working, and we've been working hard, but we're also, I think we're also improving. I mean,
Sure.
And I see that. I don't see us. 5-10 years ago, we were looking at the hospital beds all being filled, and there's no room and there's no medicine. Well,
Yeah.
we're
No,
addressing
I applaud his efforts to doing that. My big comment to that is that's fantastic to be able to bring the expertise out here, the specialists that we don't already have here. But at this point, again, they still have to be paid, and so
Sure.
we're going to be bringing more people that need to be paid. And at this point, if we can't pay the ones that are here at this point, if we're bringing more people in and we're still in the same financial situation, we need to get a grip on that and to be able to find new monies to be able to do that.
And so, yes, and so one of the things we do need to do, let's really do an assessment on why so many of us go off island for health issues, and let's invest in that kind of services at GMH, so we don't have to take an airplane off, but we can go to GMH and get that care, and that money will stay there because those are paying customers. Secondly, we have some real highlighted wings at GMH who do really well, and that's our OBGYN, that's our labor, delivery, recovery, postpartum unit. We have the best neonates around the state. We need to invest in those folks, and they haven't been renovated in 25 years, and I think, and military families go to GMH for those issues, and our new hospital will too, because it's hard to find a neonate. So what's good, let's grow it, and why people go off island, let's invest and keep those monies, whether it's heart disease or cancer, let's keep it.
Yeah. Glenn?
And to that point, I think that if we, and the key word that I'm hearing from Senator Yamashita is, let's make these investments. Because if we make these investments, and I mean, what's wrong with people? Imagine people from not just the region, but also from Asia coming here for Litiko Bodek or something like that. Something that we'll be very strong in and we'll have expertise where we draw people to us and say, this is something that we can offer
there we
the
go.
region.
We've got to go, but I'm going to give you guys 1 minute, please, your platform and your closing statements to the people.
Well, thank you. And I walk in the shoes of many families. I'm very concerned about our island. I believe in our island. I believe workforce development needs to become meaningful and relevant. I think that starts with teacher preparation. That needs to be reformulated. I believe in working with small businesses. They are the economic engine of our island. And I believe all means all. I think we need respect and regard for all. For those of us who have varying skills, varying abilities, for those of us who are blessed with different cultures, we need to up it. Respect and regard for our Manumko, for our veterans. But collectively, Guam is the best place in the world, and I wouldn't change where I am in a heartbeat for anything.
Your platform and again your closing statements. Yeah.
Guam is the best place to be in. It is paradise. One of my platform, or the things that I'm going to strive for, is for economic development and workforce development. One of the things I think, one of the ideas I have is let's imagine a charter school that focuses on hospitality, which is something we're very strong in, and where we get a curriculum that's devised and designed by people like Weston, Hyatt, and Hilton's, and you have a third grade that's speaking a couple of languages, and as he grows and graduates, or she grows and graduates, people from 5-star hotels or Dusatani are looking and say, hey, we don't need to go through the world or the United States. We can look to Guam. If we make investments instead of trying to shoot something with a shotgun, hoping something hits, instead of using that, we use a sniper rifle and say, this is what we want to target. My platform is economic development, and it's the better our economy, the better jobs we have, the better careers you get to choose, and the better pay you get.
One last thing, 30 seconds each one of you. 33rd Guam legislature, should you be elected, what do you expect to accomplish?
Expect to accomplish for all of us to collaborate at all different levels to move forward. What's best to have everyone be healthy, happy, and productive.
Okay. Glenn, should be elected 33rd Guam legislature. What would be the first thing you do? What can we see from Glenn in day one?
Well, I like the things that we're seeing already. There's so many low-hanging fruit. The Chamorro Village. Why not build a Chamorro Village up here in Guerrero, where the majority of the population, so you don't have to worry about transportation. And instead of looking at food, we look at building businesses. Could be high-tech businesses or something,
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Again, the best of luck to you in the primary. That's the 30th of August. Glenn, you are number 16. And Aline,
15.
You're number
15.
There we go. I appreciate you being here. Join us again Monday morning when we'll start at 8:15 again to 8:45. We have incumbent Senator Michael San Nicolas, Democrat, and newcomer candidate Will Castro from the Republican side of the House. So that's Monday morning on The Buzz right here on Isla 63. And of course, you can see this program tonight as well on Local 2, as well as on Primetime KUAM, likewise on KUAM's YouTube channel. Thank you very much. I appreciate you coming in here. The best of luck to you again, Glenn. You're getting a tan now, brother. That means you're out there waving.
Fishing, right?
Senator Yamashita, you're a couple shades darker now too as well. But anyway, good luck to you guys again this upcoming primary, and we'll talk to you again come the general election. Okay? Take care. Here, we're going to take a quick break, pay some bills right now, and then we'll get to your phone calls and views. This Friday morning, the 1st of August, 2014. Magi Guam. We'll be right back.